Graham Brady has confirmed that he has received 48 letters from Conservative MPs, so there will now be a vote of confidence in my leadership of the Conservative Party. I will contest that vote with everything I've got. I have been a member of the Conservative Party for over 40 years. I've served it as an activist, councillor, MP, Shadow Minister, Home Secretary, and now as Prime Minister. I stood to be leader because I believe in the Conservative vision for a better future, a thriving economy with nowhere and nobody left behind, a stronger society where everyone can make the most of their talents, always serving the national interest. And at this crucial moment in our history, that means securing a Brexit deal that delivers on the result of the EU referendum, taking back control of our borders, laws and money, but protecting jobs, our security and our precious union as we do so. Through good times and bad over the last 2 years, my passionate belief that such a deal is attainable, that a bright future lies ahead for our country, has not wavered. And it is now within our grasp. I spent yesterday meeting Chancellor Merkel, Prime Minister Rutte, President Tusk and President Juncker to address the concerns that MPs have with the backstop, and we are making progress. I was due to travel to Dublin this afternoon to continue that work, but will now remain here in London to make the case for my leadership with my parliamentary colleagues. A change of leadership in the Conservative Party now will put our country's future at risk and create uncertainty when we can least afford it. A new leader wouldn't be in place by the 21st of January legal deadline, so a leadership election risks handing control of the Brexit negotiations to opposition MPs in Parliament. The new leader wouldn't have time to renegotiate a withdrawal agreement and get the legislation through Parliament by the 29th of March, so one of their first acts would have to be extending or rescinding Article 50, delaying or even stopping Brexit when people want us to get on with it. And a leadership election would not change the fundamentals of the negotiation or the parliamentary arithmetic. Weeks spent tearing ourselves apart will only create more division, just as we should be standing together to serve our country. None of that would be in the national interest. The only people whose interests would be served are Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell. The British people want us to get on with it, and they want us to focus on the other vital issues that matter to them too. Building a stronger economy, delivering first-class public services and the homes that families need. These are the public's priorities, and they must be the Conservative Party's priorities too. We must and we shall deliver on the referendum vote and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. But the Conservatives must not be a single-issue party. We are a party of the whole nation. Moderate, pragmatic, mainstream. Committed to reuniting our country and building a country that works for everyone. The agenda I set out in my first speech outside this front door. Delivering the Brexit people voted for. Building a country that works for everyone. I have devoted myself unsparingly to these tasks ever since I became Prime Minister, and I stand ready to finish the job.
Do you think you'll win, Prime Minister? Do you think you'll win the vote, Prime Minister?
Short statement there from British Prime Minister Theresa May confronting a no-confidence vote. She says she will contest this vote with everything she's got. And she says a change in leadership could delay or stop Brexit. Let's go to our Nick Robertson, who's standing by there at 10 Downing Street. No surprise, just as you said, she has pledged to forge ahead.
And she has laid out precisely why. She has said that the deadline for leaving the European Union, 29th of March next year, is rapidly approaching, that a leadership challenge would not allow time for that job to be done properly, that the challenges that she faces would be faced by the next leader, that is the difficulty of negotiating the exit from the European Union, principally the backstop deal over the border with Northern Ireland and Ireland, that all these issues would remain that the time would be running out because of the process of finding a new leader. She has said that she is ready for the challenge, capable for the challenge. This is the sort of language that we've heard all along from the Prime Minister. She wasn't strident in her tones. She was clear. She wasn't fighting. She didn't seem to be on her back foot, so to speak. But she put it and laid it out very clearly, very firmly, reminding everyone of the moment that she had taken over as leader of the party, what seems like such a long time ago, but in effect a year and a half ago, taking over from 2.5 years ago, taking over from David Cameron after the Brexit referendum. She now is facing the biggest challenge of her leadership so far, but she is laying it out as a challenge not just for her, not just for the party, but something that faces all the people of this country. The risk of getting Brexit wrong would grow with a leadership challenge and a change of Prime Minister. That was what she was saying.
She made the point that this no confidence vote would trigger uncertainty, more division, none of which is good for the country. She has a point, doesn't she? The timing of this is truly extraordinary.
The timing is, it does show the frustration among the sort of harder Brexiteers. Perhaps there's a greater element now of concern creeping in because they heard the ruling from the European Court earlier in the week that said Britain unilaterally could decide if it wanted to, essentially stop leaving the EU, that they could just change their minds on that vote. She will have heard, and they will have heard from the Irish Prime Minister yesterday, suggesting Theresa May does just that, or at least delays the exit from the 29th of March next year. So for the harder line Brexiteers, they will have seen the possibility of one of their aims, perhaps not a principal aim, but a default aim, of crashing out of the European Union without a Brexit deal negotiated and trading on WTO rules, which would most predict particularly the businesses in this country, predict a real hit on the economy of Britain. So these hardline Brexiteers have seen the possibility potentially of them getting what they want diminishing because other possibilities appear to be opening up, like a second referendum, like delaying leaving the European Union, like possibility of changing the government changing its mind and deciding to cancel it altogether. All of those hugely remote. Nevertheless, this does seem to have put those hardline Brexiteers in a position where they figure that they've got to do this, come what may, and challenge her leadership, because the alternative may be something that they can't stomach. This they would believe would be the best way to get what they want out of it.
And Nick, how is the opposition likely to exploit all of this?
That is a very good question. One of the paths that was open to them on Monday when Theresa May announced that she wouldn't be holding the vote on Tuesday was to have a vote of no confidence in the government. And they chose not to do that. So that remains a possibility for them to do that after the vote. Let's say she survives the vote of no confidence in her leadership from within her own party, then they could have a vote of confidence in the government, and of course that would have potentially huge and time-delaying ramifications as well. So that remains an option for them, but it doesn't seem to be one that they're moving towards at the moment. But the landscape here does just keep changing, Rosemary.
Right, and Nick, so let's just very quickly go over the process ahead in the next few hours, in the next 9 hours.
So yes, Theresa May will now require a simple majority from the Conservative members of Parliament, and that would be 158 votes, and that simple majority would confirm her to continue as leader of the party. If she fails to get 158, then that would be a vote of no confidence in her, which could therefore trigger, or would therefore trigger, an election battle. Any Conservative MP that chose could throw their hat in the ring, so to speak, and the way that the process process would move forward from there. Typically, every Tuesday and every Thursday, the Conservatives would, MPs would have a secret ballot, and they would vote on those Conservative MPs who've nominated themselves with 2 supporting votes to be Prime Minister, or to be leader of the party, rather. This would then be whittled down. The sort of last place person at each vote would be dropped from the contest until it was just down to 2 players. And at that moment, when there were 2 MPs contesting the leadership, it would go by postal vote to the broader Conservative Party membership. So it's not a quick process. There are potential shortcuts, but the whole process itself not short, and that's what Theresa May was alluding to.